Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Conversation Farters podcast. It's been a while, about 1 week. We appreciate all that feedback from the previous episode. Hope that,
This is the cold open, people. This is what he thought would be funny.
This is what all podcasters do. No, this isn't like, this should be what it is from now on. Not the little din 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 din. It's like...
good evening, everybody, and thank you for tuning back in. It's been a while.
That sort of thing. See how quiet you got? See how serene you were?
It was annoying. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Conversation Farters episode 3. Wow, we're on episode 3. This is pretty cool, actually.
It's getting real.
This episode, we're going to be talking about manga. Well, our favorite manga artists, specifically. Me and Brett have different experiences in manga, and we like different things, but we have some overlapping.
Yeah. So we're going to be talking about Mangaka.
Yeah, and just to name a couple that I'll be talking about Katsuhiro Otomo, who did Akira, Akira Toriyama, who did Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, Naoki Urasawa, who we've mentioned on the podcast before.
Gotta love you some Urasawa.
Because he's awesome. And Neo Asano, who we've mentioned once before, he's awesome. Hayao Miyazaki, who's my favorite creator ever. But yeah, we're going to be talking about those. Oh, I'm going to be talking about them. I don't know who Brett's going to be talking about.
I have names. I just don't want to list them right now. It's all about keeping it fresh.
Okay, well, just name them.
I got surprises.
Who are you going to talk about?
Well, I want to talk about Urasawa too, but I also have Inio Asano.
Yeah, same.
Takashi Obata. Yasuka Murata, a great artist.
Oh, did he do Eye Shield 21?
He did, yes.
Yeah, he's cool.
And then I'm going to talk a little bit about some other people.
Okay.
Would you like to start? Or would you like
yeah, sure. I didn't grow up with manga. I got into manga really late. I was like 14. And the first manga that I read was Fullmetal Alchemist, which people think is great. I think it's okay. It's overrated, but it's good. But after that, I started moving on to things like Gundam and other manga like that, which made me come across Mobile Suit Gundam The Origin, which is my favorite. I think it's my favorite manga. How do you pronounce his name? It's long.
Yoshikazu Yashuk. Yes. There's the picture. Read it.
Yeah, we'll put the cover up.
I can't pronounce that.
Yeah, we'll put the cover up of Mobile Suit Gundam The Origin. But it's this epic retelling of the original Gundam anime. That's one of my favorite animes still, but the manga is 10 times better than the show. Really pretty. It has watercolor bits and then just black and white bits. Look. It's just charming as well.
It's really good.
It's super pretty, very charming,
I started it a long time ago and I never got back into it, but the art has definitely left an impression on me.
Yeah, if you're going to have somebody get into Gundam and, well, they want to read the manga, have them read this because the anime for it is it's very dated and the animation isn't great, but the manga is definitely a better place to go. And this guy Yoshikazu Yasuhiko. It's so hard to pronounce. He also worked on Dirty Pair, which is like an old kind of sexier anime about two girls in space who fight. And then he also worked on one of my favorite anime films of all time, Venus Wars. The animation's so good and the designs are so good. He's really talented. He's been drawing for like 40 years.
I looked him up. I got some information. So I can tell you he's 69 years old and he has yet to retire. He's still going at it.
Nice.
Well, let's give you some background. So he dropped out of university back in 69. In 1970, he was hired by Osamu Tezuka, who, by the way, is the god of manga and the god of anime. He invented the medium as a whole.
We're not going to talk about him in this episode because he's going to have... We're going to do mini episodes later talking about specific artists, and he's going to get his own mini episode because he's awesome. He's one of the greatest.
Yeah, if you know who we're talking about, you'll know why he deserves his own episode. But back to this guy, Yoshikazu. He worked on like a ton of different animation, like Japanese anime, and you can tell like he has experience. Like he was on the scene when all of this began. So he's really phenomenal, so definitely check out his works.
Yeah, he's amazing. Also, next guy. My second favorite anime film is Akira, and my second favorite manga is also Akira, and it's by Katsuhiro Otomo, who is he's a different kind of mangaka. He uses a more cinematic style, a little bit crazier of a style. Like if you flip through it and you look at the characters, it's harder to tell that they're anime characters the further you get into his manga career. Like in Akira Volume 1, it's kind of manga-y and it's you can kind of tell that it's Japanese, but it starts looking very almost European. His stuff is really amazing, and he's been doing manga for a long time. Oh yeah, he did Akira, Domu, Mother Sarah, but he's also directed like tons of short films and amazing the Akira movie, which is awesome.
He did Steam Boy, the movie,
Steam Boy,
which I've seen.
It's okay.
He did Short Piece, Memories, Neo
Those
Tokyo.
are really good. I haven't seen Neo Tokyo yet because it's hard to find on the internet. But he did this really cool OVA called Freedom, the Freedom Project. It's CG, and it's like one of the earlier CG animes, and it still looks better than the new Berserk. Like, it's really well done. And the new Berserk sucks.
So Inio Asano, he did the one that I chose to pick out was Goodnight Poon Poon. He's done a couple of other ones. His art is very, I don't want to say dark, but
it's realistic.
There's a foreboding element to it, and he chooses plots that are very. It's not for
the faint of heart, and they're heavier plots, and they definitely portray like a darker kind of mindset. Like Brett's holding Goodnight Poon Poon right now, and I'm holding Solanin, which Solanin is just a 1-volume graphic novel. I think like anybody could enjoy Solanin. It's really good. But Goodnight Poon Poon isn't something everybody can enjoy. A lot of people will not like it.
I've just started reading Goodnight Poon Poon, and I'm not going to say it's too heavy for me because I really want to see what happens to these characters and like what's the point of some of this stuff, but it makes you think. Yeah, it can take your mind to some dark places for sure.
And the interesting part of Goodnight Poon Poon is he's a really good artist, but he makes the main character like a little bird thing, and then the character kind of evolves towards the end of the manga to have like a human body and then like a weird head.
Oh, spoiler alert.
It doesn't, just read it. And it's really interesting. And his newest manga, he has 2 manga right now. I forget what one's called. He also did my favorite thing that he's ever done, which is still running. Dead Demons Destruction. Did I get that right?
You did, yeah.
Dead Demons.
Well, there's an extra duh.
Dead Demons Destruction. And that's his best work. It's such a good manga, and it's everything about it is really neat. He puts so much work into how he draws and stuff. Like he in his episode of Monben, he talked about like his photos and how all of his backgrounds are actually just photos that he desaturates, and then he'll re-ink some of it. But for like classrooms and stuff, he'll CG it, and then he'll like do some crazy stuff with that. He's really smart and really amazing, and uses a bunch of different tools, and definitely takes advantage of like everything at his disposal to make a good manga.
Yeah, definitely check out his episode.
He's a good storyteller, not just a good artist. Some people are just good artists. Like Takashi Obata, I think, is just a good artist.
Ruined it. That was my segue.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's talk about the next guy that I have on my list. Takeshi Obata. He is a phenomenal artist. He's done a bunch of mainstream manga that a lot of you guys, if you're fans of the genre, know, such as Bakuman, which I have read and I loved it. It was really great and definitely relatable. If you know like the 2 main characters, sometimes I feel like that's me and Bryce.
Yeah, well, we used to try to do comics together, which didn't work out because we both don't like the way that each other works, I don't think.
Yeah, we're very different.
I'm very lazy and I need inspiration to draw, and Brett's very he has a work ethic about how he does stuff like animation and things, but I just have to, if you look at my Tapastic page, I try to do a weekly comic page. It's like every 2 weeks or every week. It's whenever I'm inspired, I'll do a page. That's my work ethic.
Yeah, I'm very organized, and I have to not only feel good about what I'm doing, but like
you're very single-minded.
Not absorb, but be submerged in that
single-minded.
Yeah, I'm very obsessive. So if I'm doing a proper project, I'm in it.
That's also why you can't watch anime or watch cartoons and work at the same time.
It's one or the other. I can't, like Bryce will watch a cartoon or listen to an audiobook or draw, or all at the same time. I can't do that.
Because otherwise, if I'm just sitting there trying to draw, I'm going to draw the same things because I'm not an extremely creative person. But if I constantly have input, I'll have things. If I'm not just drawing like fan art of what I'm watching, it'll connect to another thing that connects to another thing in my head. And then that'll lead me down the spiral. And then I'll be like, I'm going to draw, punk Akira version of Damon Albarn. And then I'll do that. I was watching Akira, and then I put on the gorillas right after.
Oh, look at that picture. That's really nice.
Yeah, I'll put that up.
But yeah, we were talking about Takeshi Obata. So he's done, I mentioned Bakuman. That was a favorite of mine. He also did Death Note. Okay, so when I didn't read it.
I think that was the first anime that you ever saw, right?
No, that was Code Geass. Code Geass was my gateway into Japanese everything. Like anything. That was it. That was what turned me on to anime and manga. But soon, one of those things that followed shortly after was Death Note. And I did really enjoy it when I first saw it. Eventually, you get a feel for like the crowd that was following it, or you're not really as enthralled, and it's just okay.
It's also okay. Death Note is something that It's basically like the same as Full Metal Alchemist. The hype doesn't live up to the actual thing because most of the people that are super into it are like teenagers who have only read like Naruto, Bleach, like they've read the Shonen Jump flagship. Yeah, the Shonen Jump flagship books, basically. Like One Piece and stuff. And something with a pretty good story comes along, like Full Metal Alchemist or Death Note, and it gets hyped up by these people. They just eat it up. Same thing happened with Attack on Titan when it came out. Yeah. There was also nothing good in anime coming out at the same time as Attack on Titan.
Yeah, that's also a contributing factor when like the playing field is more than leveled, and then something slightly above par comes out. Yeah, everybody just goes crazy for it.
Or when somebody masters the just a good, not an amazing manga, but like just a good manga, like My Hero Academia. That's like the mastery of like just good, and the anime is like the mastery of just good. Like just good shonen.
It's easy to consume, so it sells well.
Yeah, especially with the craze of superheroes. Yeah, the superhero manga and stuff in Japan is kind of picking up, which leads us to a next artist who did One Punch Man.
Oh yeah, okay, so Yasuka Murata. So he didn't write One Punch. He's simply the artist that did the reincarnation. He did the manga. Because if you guys are fans of One Punch, you might know that it was actually a webcomic. It was a web series before it became the hit manga and the hit anime show that it is today. And the guy who translated it into the mainstream manga was Yusuke Murata. And he's done a ton of different works. He's got a huge repertoire. So he's done stuff like iShield 21.
I think it's only iShield 21, to be honest.
Well, it looks like he worked on Devilback Ghost. The World Is Mine, Field of Colors.
Well, I think those are mostly one-shots. His biggest thing is iShield 21, and I know a lot of people actually really liked that. My friend Kohaku really likes it. She does webcomics. She's awesome. Cool. But she really likes it. Mikiko, who does the mini-comics.
Oh, Mikiko.
I was talking to her a while ago, and her favorite, and she really likes iShield and Berserk. Like, those are, like, her favorites.
That's cool. Links to those two below, by the way. Mikiko and...
Kohaku.
Yeah, they're both phenomenal artists. So that was Yusuke Murata, right? He did all the art of One Punch and stuff. But I wanted to mention the original author of One Punch, which he just goes by the name One. And I tried before we started recording, I really tried to find his actual name, and it won't give it to me. I know that he's 30 years old. I know the town that he was born in, but that's about it.
And he did One Punch Man and Mob Psycho 100.
Yeah.
Which I like more than One Punch Man.
So he's a phenomenal, well, I wouldn't say artist.
He started really crappy. He had a good sense of humor, and then his work ethic got him to a pretty decent place.
The stuff that he produces, the content that he makes is really, really good.
I think he knows that he's not making high art. He knows that I think he's like his main character in One Punch Man. Like, he's just kind of a mangaka for fun, and he's like I don't know. Yeah. I guess that's just a good comparison to him.
That is interesting. Now we're going to talk about my hero. He's my favorite artist of all time, Naoki Urasawa.
Yeah, who we've mentioned, I think, in episode 1 and episode 2.
So I think one of the earlier things that he did was Master Keaton, which was, I think all of his works eventually got turned into anime.
Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah, I think every single serialized manga he did like 3 short manga, but everything bigger, like his first ever manga was called Yawara. Or Happy. Yeah, it's about a girl who does judo in the Olympics, and that was made into an anime, but the anime was only a season long, but the manga was like 12 volumes or something big. And his art in that was a little bit more, it was simpler. Well, it was his first manga, so he's definitely grown with doing his other stuff.
Like Pluto, for example. Now, Pluto was I guess it was almost like a reboot of Astro Boy. Like, he took all of these elements from the original story of Astro Boy, such as the characters, a lot of the plot, and a lot of the settings, like the narrative.
He just took one of the most popular Astro Boy story, which I think was called like The Mightiest Robot on Earth or The Greatest Robot on Earth. And it was like this 80-page story that Tetsuka did way back when Astro Boy was big.
Yeah, he mixed in a couple of other plots in it too.
Yeah, he definitely mixed it up and threw in some other fun characters.
Yeah, and it's like such an amazing... Not only like really respectful nod to Osamu Tezuka's work, just an incredible standalone plot. Like it's awesome by itself.
Yeah, without any Tezuka connection, it's amazing. Yeah. And only they tried to do an Astro Boy, like a new Astro Boy comic that was kind of like based off the aesthetic of Pluto, and it's not good at all. Okay. Like it was coming out recently, and the art isn't as good, the story isn't as well thought out. Just nobody could capture the emotion, the storytelling, and the pacing and the layouts the way that Tetsuka would do his panels. Like only Urasawa could like do something that good.
Yeah, and if you're a fan of just like the manga genre and you are more like you're comfortable reading it, or even if you're a beginner, reading Pluto was a great experience, and the plot is really engaging. All of Urasawa's books have this sort of consistent sort of cliches to them that you come to expect after you've read like the third thing that he's done, and that's like there's an element of mystery and there's an element of one or two characters like really seeking to understand something that you don't know about, like a backstory something.
There's also a theme of his characters being middle-aged men.
Yeah, true.
Because he does seinen manga. Like even Pluto, I guess, counts as a seinen, which is seinen is just manga. Because there's shonen, which is aimed at boys, shoujo, which is aimed at girls, and seinen, which is aimed at adults.
Yeah.
And he always does seinen. Like Master Keaton is about a middle-aged insurance investigator. Pluto is about a middle-aged German detective. Monster is about a middle-aged doctor. They're all amazing, and they're all different. Like he doesn't have like the same main character in all of his manga.
His art is like just incredible, and his storytelling is beyond phenomenal.
He doesn't have any online accounts, but we're gonna link to Mon Ben again in the description.
Yeah, and definitely like do your best to check out all of his works. Billy Bat even.
Oh, Billy Bat's his newest one. That one's about a middle-aged
I think that's still
monk.
going, right?
Yeah, still running.
Yeah, so definitely check out Urasawa. He's amazing.
So, one of the most popular mangaka in Japan ever is Akira Toriyama. And he did Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dr. Slump. Those are all of his notable works.
Chrono Trigger.
He designed Chrono Trigger, the video game, which is my favorite video game. I can't believe I forgot that. But yeah, he did Dragon Ball, which was super neat, and I love Dragon Ball. And his art, he has amazing technical abilities with his art. He can draw the best tanks, the best ships, the best like motorcycles ever. Like you can't, like, hands down, his are my favorite. But he also, like, his art, the way he drew people, got... Bless you. Bless you.
Thank you. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah. His art the way he drew people got simpler and more angular as his art.
In a good way or a bad way?
I don't know how to feel about it, because if you look at, like, Dragon Ball, which I should have brought in here, Dragon Ball Volume 1, everybody's a little bit softer. But then you look at, like, this is the Frieza arc of, if you Google... like how Goku is all soft and cute. That art versus, like, this is volume 1 of the Frieza arc. Everything's a bit sharper.
Got a lot sharper.
Yeah.
Does he color his own stuff?
Yeah, the colored edition, I think he colored himself, which I loved. I love the flat colors. He also, for Dragon Ball, when he in the big volumes that Viz put out, they would have, like, colored bits in it. And he would use, like, the best colors for those. I don't know if we can find images of that. Because they just released the Dragon Ball full color manga, which they're only covering anything past the Saiyan arc. You can see everything was a lot softer. Not as flat.
I kind of like it softer.
Yeah. I don't know, it was just nicer. He's still really good, I think.
I don't want to,
He's been drawing forever.
I don't know. I'm not digging his people too much, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
TBH.
You've never really liked Dragon Ball Z, or I don't know, you haven't gotten into Dragon Ball. We haven't liked Dragon Ball Z.
I watched the show.
Yeah.
Watched it all the way.
Yeah, I don't know, it's acquired. But I like it, and I think his art's really awesome.
It's enjoyable.
He's one of those guys that ended up getting stuck in the loop where he had to just pump out chapters. And so his editor would just be like, you need a new villain. So he'd name, like, Frieza is named after a freezer. And Frieza's brother is literally named Cooler, after a cooler. And all the Saiyans are, like, vegetables. And then Piccolo is a pickle. It's just...
He lived alone.
Yeah. No, he had a wife and kid.
Oh.
Yeah, but he just named it after stuff in his studio, which I thought was pretty funny. So if you just look at all the characters in Dragon Ball Z, I think in Dragon Ball everything's kind of fine. The way the characters are named in Dragon Ball, it's a little bit different than the way that they're named after that you reach the point where things start turning into Dragon Ball Z, which, like, in the manga, the way Viz published it, I think that they actually did switch it from, like, Dragon Ball, and then they separate it, and then it's Dragon Ball Z, so it's, like, volumes 1 of whatever Dragon Ball. Then it's volumes 1 through whatever Dragon Ball Z. But I think in Japan that didn't. There's no Dragon Ball Z in Japan. It's just Dragon Ball for the manga all the way through. Just Dragon Ball. And it was really good. And awesome. And awesome. And amazing. And it was awesome. And I really liked it. It was pretty awesome.
Okay, Bryce.
Yeah. It's also something that's very aimed at teenage boys. Like young teenage boys, because it's just an action. No deep plot. There's no No deep plot in that show. There is some interesting character development. Okay, I have one more person to talk about.
That's an episode of Dragon Ball. That's what I did. That was an artistic renditioning
Of Dragon Ball Z. Yeah. Dragon Ball, there was no Super Saiyan, so you can shut up.
Whatever, they still yelled.
Not as much. Idiot. The last person I want to talk about, last but not least, he's going to get his own episode when we do the artist by artist episodes. I need to talk about him. Hayao Miyazaki is my favorite artist of all time. He's like one of the founders of Studio Ghibli. He did Totoro, he did Nausicaa. He's amazing.
Don't act like you don't know who he is.
Yeah, come on. You live under a rock. But he did his first big thing that he ever did was Nausicaa. Well, okay. So his career went he did a couple shows, including Future Boy Conan and things like that. Then he got a directing gig on a Lupin III movie called The Castle of Cagliostro, which is an amazing movie, and it's one of the most well-animated things of its era, if not the most well-animated thing of its era. And after that, he got commissioned by now his main producer at Ghibli to make a manga, because the producer was tasked with creating an anime magazine. He had 2 months. He actually had 6 weeks was the amount of time to create an anime magazine and create enough content for issue 1 and then start rolling it with an issue a month. So he asked this guy that he had met while working on Future Boy Conan and Lupin if he could do a manga, and that manga was Nausicaa. And then Miyazaki kind of created this huge manga epic of Nausicaa for this magazine that had just started. And that ran for, I don't know, years. It was 2 years, I think, that he did Nausicaa. And the way that it's printed in America are these bigger than normal manga volumes. Mm-hmm. They're a little bit taller and they're a lot thinner. They kind of look like normal American graphic novels, except for they're backwards because it's manga. Mm-hmm. But I prefer these big editions because I would hate to have a small Nausicaa because it's such a pretty book.
I think you borrowed a small paperback Nausicaa at one point and you were like, look at how much he fits into the panels. And now we're like,
it's still how much he fits in the panels. It's ridiculous how his line work is.
I remember how dense every scene was. There was so much going on.
Yeah, it takes forever to read Nausicaa because there's so much.
Yeah, and for those of you, if you've seen any of the documentaries that are on Miyazaki and Studio Ghibli, which you should check out, by the way. There's Kingdom of Dreams and Madness, and then the new one that came out, which is Miyazaki, The Man Who Never Ends.
Yeah, I'll put the link to Miyazaki, The Man Who Never Ends in the description.
They're both super inspiring.
That one is on YouTube. The other one you have to find somewhere else. And I'll put a link to that because it's from the NHK, National Japanese Channel.
Isn't Kingdom of Dreams and Madness on Netflix?
I think so.
If you have a Netflix, check it out.
Yeah, check it.
But yeah, he has an incredible work ethic. He's an inspiration to artists everywhere. And he is the man who will never end. Yeah,
he does. He's tried to retire twice. He can't stop making amazing content.
Yeah, he's definitely set an incredible legacy. Even for after he passes, nobody will forget him.
Yeah,
he's part of history.
Yeah, he's awesome. And he inspires me every time he makes something. And as a person, and as he's a very philosophical person. He has really big emotions, and he's a thinker. I agree with him almost 100% of the time whenever he talks about something. He's so on point and smart and just understanding of people. It's amazing. Love Miyazaki forever and always. Well, I think that's
it.
Yeah, that's our favorite manga and mangaka.
Yeah,
a little quick overview on each of them. We didn't go into a lot of detail because we would get bogged down with, especially I could talk about Miyazaki forever.
Yeah.
And I could talk about Otomo for a while. And Brett doesn't want to hear me talk about Akira Toriyama, so.
Not too much. I respect him.
But he's not your cup of tea.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Yeah, thanks.
Wait. We gotta restart. Thanks for tooting in. Thanks for tooting in, guys.
Oh, funny story. Okay, real quick. So my dude, I guess he's my mentor, Alcam Michael, who I've linked before in the description. He listened to the podcast and he's like, you guys have to say thanks for tooting in.
Yes!
And toot in next time. Idea! I was like, okay. I actually told him you should be embarrassed. But yeah, he said that we should make that joke. That was for you. Okay. Goodbye. Thanks.
Let me do it one more time.
Okay.
Let me do it one more time.
I'm
just
leaving.
To get it right.
I'm gonna leave.
Come back.
Bye.
No.
Bye.
Bryce. Wait. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Bryce, come back. Bryce.